Hi, my name is Nila Jones, and this is my final project presentation for ITS 403. We are going to talk about video game. Video games are electronic games that people interact through electronic devices. Video games has become a part of modern culture in the industrial countries. The first video game dated back to 1940s and reached mainstream population in the 70s and 80s. Currently, it is one of the most popular forms of media for entertainment for most industrial countries. According to Entertainment Software Association (ESA), 155 million Americans play video game. Video game has changed the entire entertainment industry throughout the years. Video game as a force for social change. In the past, most video games players will play on their own and isolate themselves. With the advancements of the internet technology, people are able to use video game as a social interaction tool. People can communicate with other players all over the world by playing online games. One of the most famous online fantasy game called World of Warcraft has more than 12 million game players at one time. The popular social media, such as Facebook, also hosts several popular social networking games. Video game influence to children and youth. With the advancements of technology and graphics, video games have become closer to reality. Call of Duty is one of the video games that stimulate the infantries and combined arms warfare of World War II. More than half of the top-selling video games contain violence. This has caused a heated debate whether video games increase aggressive behavior in children and youth. Children and youth are also using video games as a social interactions through games discussion or together playing with friends. Video game through the lens of interdisciplinary lens. There has been several regarding studies regarding video games effects. A study by Professor Craig A. Anderson and his colleague suggests that violent video games increase aggressive thought, angry feelings, and aggressive behavior, and decrease empathic feelings and prosocial behaviors. However, a recent functional magnetic resonance imaging fMRI study showed that a shooter game player can allocate their attention more efficiently and filter out irrelevant information more effectively. With this, there's going to be some pros and cons in video games. One of the pros is complex games that focus on memorizations and analytical skills can enhance problem-solving ability and creativity. However, the cons again is video games increase aggressive behavior and simulating violence such as shootings, guns, and hand-to-hand combat can cause real-life violence behavior. Video game societal issues. There are some issues that can cause video game. The first one is excessive playing. Based on the study, 11% of gamers show symptoms associated with addiction. Online gamers need to interact with other players in real time. This can cause them to neglect real-life responsibility. The second one is violence. Violence behaviors are encouraged and rewarded in certain video games. Children and youth show increased aggressive behavior by playing violent video games. The last one, gender stereotyping. Most video games portray male to be more aggressive, while female portray in sexualized way. There are some issues with video games. The first one, global issues in video games. With the advancements of technology and graphics, video games have become closer to reality. More than half of the top selling video games contain violence, as we mentioned above. This has caused a heated debate whether a video game increases aggressive behavior in children and youth. People begin to see video game as the cause of the increased mass shooting and youth homicide. One scientific study by Professor Craig A. Anderson suggests that violent video games increase aggressive thought, angry feelings, and aggressive behavior, and decrease empathic feelings and pro-social behavior. People saw video game as the cause of aggressive behavior in children and youth. People also blame video game as the cause of the increased mass shooting and youth homicide. Many perpetrators of mass shootings, such as Harrison Klebold, who murdered 12 students and teachers, are obsessed with violent video games. With large availability of violent video games in the market, it is easy for children and youth to access the game. Influences. We have discussed about the digital identity in one of the course topics. Digital identity is related with online gaming. In the virtual world, anyone can create any persona with no consequence. Similar with social media, gaming can also cause addiction. Without a good balance of real-life activity in video game, children and youth are vulnerable to addiction. Impact. By watching violent characters in video game, young children are more likely imitate the behavior of the characters and having difficulty to differentiate between reality and fantasy. Since some of the video game rewards and encourage violent behavior, this easily affects children and youth. By playing video games, they can become addicted and neglecting their real-life responsibility. In the future state, with the popularity of video game increase, there always be a risk for children and youth to be exposed to violence. However, video games also have positive effect. Study also suggests that video game can improve player positive attitude and help promote relaxation, and also ward off some anxiety. One of the studies suggests that playing puzzle video games with minimal interfaces, short-term commitment, and a high degree of accessibility can improve player moods, promote relaxation, and ward off anxiety. One of the newest positive effects of video game is the social benefit. Compared to 20 years ago, video games have evolved into social communication. According to Entertainment Software Association, 70% of people play their game with their friend either cooperatively or competitively. This will grow more in the future, which will have increased people's ability to organize and lead groups. Plan for the futures. Parental control is important for video game exposure for children and youth. Parents can use the Entertainment Software Rating Board rating guides to determine appropriate games for the age. Parents can also guide the children to playing together. By playing together, they can guide their children and help them progress in their tasks in order to reduce frustration for not achieving any goals. Video game will continue to grow more in the future. Video games can become tools in learning for children and youth. Current games can increase problem-solving skill. For example, a game called Little Big Planet 2 will allow players to choose the correct tool for solving problems. Video game can give children close to real experience that allow them to expand and apply practical knowledge. Game also highly engaging individualized learning. Role-playing games allow players to identify and solve problems in their own pace. Once they solve the problem, the games can give new challenge with more complex challenges. As a parent, my plan is to spend time by playing video games together with my children. It allows me to explain the difference between reality and fantasy. Another way to control is by limiting the video game time. Balancing real life activity and video game time will help in eliminating addiction. Nurture their interest in the video game into something positive, such as introduce them to computer coding. There are many available sites that offer free coding lessons by using interactive game. With this, the children can learn while they play. Having parents' involvement is very crucial in reducing negative aspects in video games. Parents can become guides to their children and youth in exploring video games. As a parent, showing and explaining different types of video games are necessary. Explain to them that some of the violent behavior only rewarded in video games but not in real life, where there is a real consequence. Utilizing video game as a tool to introduce coding will benefit in the long run. It will help children enhance their technological thinking. With this, I conclude my presentation and thank you for watching.